Okay, so anybody complained about traffic in Chennai? Only one hand. How are we going to solve the traffic problem? Why don't we try and become the car and the driver and try and solve it? This I want to close with this. Any ideas? So when you're in the car, you're driving. What do you feel? You feel like getting out, okay, but how, you really want to get your destination, right? There is a phenomenon called road rage, I don't know, it's a new word, it's a new phrase. People actually get angry when they're on the road, so that's what you're feeling, I agree, but how do you get your destination, right? Sorry? Get a flying car, okay, now we're starting to get ideas, okay. So you're out of road space, right? So the next thing is to fly, okay. What else? If you can't fly, what do you do? Distance is short, use the bicycle, okay. But let's keep it to cars, right? And see how to solve the car problem. Because the car is the one that's big and fat and it takes up a lot of space on the road. Carpool, public transport, okay. I'm going to constrain the problem for you. Everybody has his own car. They are refusing to carpool. They're refusing to take public transport. Yeah. That's carpooling, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You can't change the road, okay? No, I'm trying to focus your thoughts. So you are in the car, you are the driver. What are you feeling at the moment? Okay, you're feeling that the speed is limited. You want to go faster. Okay, what else are you feeling? You're feeling that there is such a small gap between those two vehicles. Can I go through that gap? Right? Anything else? So you want to go through all the gaps, you want to go as fast as possible. Right? Okay, enough. I mean, let's just take those 2 points, right? Just based on those 2 points, how are we going to innovate? How are we going to come up with a way to beat Chennai traffic? Yeah. Create a flexible car. See, already we are innovating, right? So you want to get through the gap and you don't want to damage the car, right? So you want to make the car out of flexible material. Wonderful. What else? Flexible material, I'll just add to that, or a material that doesn't scratch, or you can add all those things, right? So you've converted an automobile problem into a materials problem. You're already going multidisciplinary, right? What else? Flexible car, right? Wonderful. I mean, okay. Now, let's say you've made a flexible car, and you've made a flexible engine, whatever that means, right? But the people are not flexible, right? People have a limited amount of flexibility. So when you hit that limit, what else can you do? Sorry? Okay, but you need to see the road, right? Again, I'm asking you to get into the consciousness of the driver. What are you thinking at this point? Now you're able to get into the gaps, right? What's next? Yeah, sorry? Okay, so that's another innovation. You are the driver, you are a control system, right? You are getting feedback from the road and you're taking actions based on that feedback very, very quickly, all right? A driver is a very finely tuned control system, right? So that's another wonderful idea. So if you can automate that thing to process faster, that same control system, you will be able to hit the other point. Somebody said speed, right? First point was small gaps, and we made a flexible car for that. Second point was speed. You want to get into the same gaps faster, right? So if you automate that control system and make a self-driving vehicle, which is in fact what automobile companies are working on today, so you hit the right idea, right? So you will gain another dimension. And in fact, if you automate it, you will gain one more thing. In fact, if you see a heavy traffic road from the top, if you see a satellite image of a heavily trafficked road, you will realize that there is still a lot of gap between vehicles. It's not that densely packed. right? So if you automate that control system, if you make a self-driving vehicle, you can even further reduce the gap between the vehicles and move faster. Double benefit, right? Yeah, they have to be able to interact with each other. Obviously, it's not we haven't solved the problem fully, but we got the spark, right? Okay, now somebody said flying car. Let's explore that. How do you make a car fly? Jet engines. Okay, now jet engines are an obvious solution, but we know jet engines are very expensive and fuel isn't so cheap anymore, right? Sorry? Okay, now how do you make it fly? Lightweight, okay. That's another challenge for the materials guys. Okay, see, another wonderful idea. You can jump, right? So overtaking doesn't have to be on the side, right? It can be on the top, right? That's one way to fly. And then doesn't physics tell you that, why does flying have to be so energy intensive? I mean, just because a jet engine consumes a lot of fuel, physics tells you that once you take off, you shouldn't need any further energy to be there, right? So the only energy you consume is in taking off, right? To stay there in principle, in theory, you should not need further energy, correct? Yes or no? So what's the big deal about flying then? Sorry? Say again? I can't hear it. Can you just speak a little louder? Gravity pulls you back, but that's a force. You're not doing work. Right? Only if work is getting done, you're expending energy. Correct? So technically, theoretically, to stay there, even though gravity is a force that's acting on you, you shouldn't need any energy. Right? Okay. Maybe not, right? Think. Okay. But to pump air, you need energy. Magnetic levitation, wonderful. So to stay there, you don't need energy, right? So why not think in those lines, right? What if the car is, to just build on your idea, made of a magnetic material, and the road is made of a magnetic material? Now you give the problem to the materials guys to find a way to make a cheap magnetic material which can be put on all the roads, right? And with a very high kilo Tesla kind of magnetic field strength, right? And then you don't need energy to keep it there. You only need energy to move it. Again, all I'm trying to do is to highlight that the fact that if you really delve into the problem, in no time we will come up with ideas, right? I mean, we are not going to look to the West to invent the flying car, right? The traffic problem is ours and it's here to stay, right? We have to do it, right? So I just want to close by saying that invention happens everywhere, okay? There's no dearth of products wanting invention, right? And I was just talking to someone earlier today about, you guys might have noticed some of the more expensive cars have a display of what is the pressure in each tire on the dashboard. So they are devices called tire pressure sensors, which display the pressure on the dashboard. Another classic example of, okay, you probably thought that you kind of maxed out of what you can show on the dashboard in a car, right? But the pressure in tires is a safety issue. People forget to fill air. So this display of pressure became very useful. That was an innovation. Even though the pressure sensor was very cheap, the car was sold at a much higher price because of this innovation. Right? Just to tell you that innovation happens everywhere. I wanted to close with that, and I'll take a lot of questions. Thank you.